Welcome to Say It in 4. I'm your host, TerrenceEdwards. Joining me today, we have Brittany, Chanel, Charnetta, Daniel, and a special guest, Dominque Turner. Welcome to the show, guys. So Dominque Turner is a filmmaker, producer, director, and founder of the company Living Single 365. And we can't forget a plant mom. So Dom, welcome and tell us a little bit about Living Single 365 and what you guys are doing over there.
So Living Single 365 is a event dating company of sorts. We basically, in a nutshell, we throw events for single people in the New York, New Jersey area. So I live in Jersey, but we are hoping to expand soon to different states and cities around the world. Well, really around the US for now. And so it's all the great events that you know and love, but for single people. And so we put everybody in the same room with the same space and opportunity to shoot your shot. And so we might be at a paint and sip, everybody single, go shoot your shot, sis. We're bowling, go shoot your shot. We're at a game night, go shoot your shot. So everybody at the events are strictly, exclusively single. At least I think so. Listen, I can't check. You know, I do my due diligence. I say this is for single people. So if your man comes to our event, I'm sorry, sis. I say what I said.
Now, at some of these events, are like the women just waiting for the guys to come up, or are they like actively going out there to find love?
Yeah, I think everybody is very social at my events. It's really low pressure. It's never like, oh, you have to go talk to somebody. It's not like a Sadie Hawkins dance where the women are waiting around for the men or the men are like on the walls waiting for the women. It's not like that.
Right.
Like, how do you get people? Because, okay, I'm thinking about myself, right? If I was to go, because it sounds super dope. I'm like, yo, you came here, I would go. It sounds super dope. So I'm going to this event, right? I don't know anybody. I'm hoping to meet people. Do you have like icebreakers, or how do you get people to open up and feel that, get that connection and get that vibe to then want to start to talk and, build something?
Definitely. So yeah, we definitely do some icebreakers depending on what the event is. Usually there's some type of activity that we're doing that's already kind of community based. And so like at our paint and sip, I was like, make sure you go sit next to somebody that you don't know. And before we started our paint and sip, we had poetry and like we had performing. And so like there's little things that I like make sure that there's happening during the entire event, so people are not bored and they're engaged. And so like maybe there's a happy hour before. So we have a yoga event coming up next Saturday. And so
nice.
For that, I'm giving everybody shots of juice, like natural juices. And then like, so
okay, nice. Cute. I like that because it reminds me, like when I think of like speed dating events and all that, I always think of like the long table with the chairs, and it's like you got a minute to kind of like pitch how you doing, and I'm like, how do people do that for like 2 minutes to like really like sell themselves in 2 minutes? Like I feel like it's like marketing or something like that. I'm so happy to hear you do other things like sipping paints and poetry. I think that is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for shedding light on that, because I just was very simple-minded when it came to those kind of events. Like, I'm not about to be coming here sitting in a chair every 2 minutes, having to switch chairs and all that. I don't got time.
We've really tried to shy away from like your typical singles event. And like people typically think like that's the only singles thing that you can go to meet people. And it's really not. Like I want to give people the different experiences of being in a social environment so it feels low pressure, because speed dating is a very high pressure. And it's like you said, Chanel, like you got to pitch yourself in 2 minutes and like you don't know what to say.
Right.
And
Yeah,
for sure.
I think you can learn a lot too. Like you said, bowling, like playing games with other people, you can learn a lot about them in that type of environment. And for the yoga, like at least, if you're attending this event, that's something that you're going to have in common with this person. They're, into yoga,
If you come to a yoga event, you know that this guy's probably into fitness. He's body conscious. He might be healthy. That's the kind of guy you want. Then you need to be at this kind of event. Like when we throw our day party, you might find a party guy. And so make sure you come to that kind of event if you like to have a good time. And so like, I think each event is very tailored and curated. And so you kind of know what kind of person people are coming to different kinds of events. Because not everybody comes to every event. Like I have repeat people that come every time. And then I have new people that are like, I'm going to skip this one. I really don't like yoga.
But do you make it your business to make sure that somebody has somebody they could compare to? Or are you just kind of like hosting an event and just making sure everybody's good?
So I tried to be a little bit hands off during the event in terms of like matching people up. Like, I'm not going to
Okay.
bring a guy to a girl, and I'm not going to bring a girl to a guy. You kind of got to do the work once you get to the event. But certainly if somebody's sitting alone, I'm the host, or if I'm there, I'm always mingling with people. So everybody 9 times out of 10 knows me by the end of the night, whether you're a woman or a man. Like, I'm making sure I'm being social too. And like, oh, you want to drink? Come on, shots on me. Let's go. Like, you know, making sure mingling and making sure everybody is comfortable in the environment, for sure.
So Dom, I remember when you were thinking about this idea, we was in Santa Monica having drinks, actually talking about this. And then you said you want to take people from online dating and then do the in-person thing again, right? So how do you feel about online dating versus in-person dating? What's your take on that?
Before I answer that, I just want to comment on what you said. Like, remember when this was just an idea I had? Like, it was literally
crazy, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
manifest.
Like, I hadn't written anything down. I hadn't talked to anybody. It was just like, I really want to do this thing where like singles can meet in person. Like, honestly, I was sick and tired of being single at that point too. So like, this was self-serving for me too. But like, yeah, I talked to T about it. I'm just like, yeah, like this is something I want to do. And then it came into fruition a year later. And like now, like we're successful. Like it's a thing. So like I'm really proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
My preference, online versus in-person dating, for sure. In-person dating, like I do the online thing because it's COVID right now. Like I kind of don't have a choice. I kind of don't have a choice. So like I'm doing all the things. I'm going to my events. I'm meeting people at the bar, and I'm doing online dating. So like I'm out here. People know who I am. I'm dating. So I would prefer to meet somebody the old-fashioned way, which is why I do my events. But like online dating is not off the table for me.
Okay.
But what made you want to like be invested into like the dating scene? Like what inspired you to do that?
So I was out one day with a friend, and it was just like a festival, like a community festival in our neighborhood. And she was like, dang, where all the single men at? I was like, yeah, where they at? Like, I don't know, where they at though? And she was just making a joke. She was like, oh, I wish there was a singles fest. I was like, huh.
Done.
Festival. You know, that kind of like lit something. Like, maybe not a festival, we could work our way up, but like maybe there's events that we can throw where people can come and meet and put people in the same space. And so from there, we kind of ran with that.
Now we're in 2021 and people are trying to find love. Like, you know, we got the vaccine now. People are taking these masks off and they're like, yo, okay, so that's how you look? I'm going after you. Right? You know, so what's your, I guess, like advice on people who are now like just going out into the world and like trying to date again now in 2021 post COVID? Well, we're still in COVID, but you know what I mean.
I think you got to go where they're at. Like you got to meet them where they're at. And so if it's in your houses, like it's just not, you know what I mean? So like I'm out in these streets, I'm out and about. And so making yourself available and being open to those opportunities, because if you're not out, they don't know that you're available. And so that's my biggest thing, that like, yes, somebody can find you. And like, they always say like, you know, it's going to happen when you least expect it, when you're not looking, but like, it's not happening for me. Like, and so I'm looking, I'm actively looking. And I think that's okay if you are actively looking and putting yourself in those spaces.
So why do you think it's not happening for you? Like, I mean, is your bar like super high? Do you have a crazy preference? What's going on?
Right, you like, so you're the problem.
I was about to say he might as well have just said that. I was like, dang.
It's either gonna be T, it's gonna be T or Daniel to ask those kind of questions. So
but do you think that it can potentially be you, or do you think that you just haven't met that person yet?
No, I think it's a fair question, because I do get that question often, because I like to tell people, it's a joke, but I like to tell people that I'm chronically single, like always single, never in a relationship, right? And I'm not claiming that for myself. It's just a joke, but I think I haven't found the right person, and I really don't want to settle. I don't think my standards are too high. However, I think that a lot of the men that are around me just are very low bar. The bar is in hell, and if you can't reach that, I'm sorry, sir, I don't want to date you.
Do you find that it's more women or more men that come to your events, or how do you make sure that there's a good mix?
When I tell you these women tickets sell out like this,
right?
The women are ready and eager. I always I have to limit the tickets for the women all the time. And then I have to literally like DM people and like do word of mouth marketing for the men. Like it's really hard to get to the men to the events, but thankfully we do always have like a even mix after like working so hard to get the men. But yeah, the women are so much more eager than the men. And I just think that like naturally women are more mature and into these types of things. And maybe the men can speak on it. Like, would you come to a singles event?
I was about to say that's odd, because if you told me, hey, as a single dude, hey, I'm having this event, I got 30 single ladies that's gonna be there, I'm in there. Like, I don't understand why, like, how it's hard for dudes to get there. I mean, and especially if it's the fact that they can shoot their shot too. So you might go find you a young tenderoni that you didn't even know was interested in you.
Right.
Why do you feel that that's something generally as
T
men
not going to that type of event?
Exactly. He's the man I'm talking about.
Well, yeah. I would go
he
to
feel like any girl that's gonna be at that event ain't up to par on his level.
His standards, right? Because she got standards, so you gotta come correct if you trying to date T. Go ahead, T.
So I would definitely go to support Dom in any event. Like, I was thinking about flying over there. Hold on, let me finish real quick.
No, that's not the question. I feel like you're deflecting right now. You're deflecting right now, bro.
That was a politician.
Stop the cat.
Right there.
Yeah, you're deflecting right now.
So I told Dom, I said, yo, your first event, I'll fly over there and I'll come support in Jersey, right? I told you that. You know, the women there are potentially looking for relationships, right? So if you're a guy who don't even want that right now, I might not go to that event because I'm trying to, right? I'm trying to get something real quick on a Friday night, a Saturday night, spit my game, get your number and hit. I'm not going to look for no relationship. The women there, they don't really see it that way. They're looking for love. They're looking to be held. They're looking for a long-term type of relationship and get married and those type of things.
That's fair.
So that's why I think
That's
having
real.
a tough time, maybe getting the guys out there because they're not looking for that.
Yeah, it definitely could be that. It definitely could be that. And I could see that being an issue if you are trying to just do a fling, because I think I'm really working on the branding now, because I do want it to be an intentional company and brand that says, like, if you're looking for love, this is a potential place you could find it. If you're looking for a relationship, this is a potential place you can find it. And not like the one night stand. I don't want to promote it. But if you do come to the event and that's what you do, that's your business. I'm not policing anybody. If y'all want to, that's it, like, go ahead, sis, go ahead, bro. Like, I'm not policing anybody. But that's not what we stand for. So
is there like a online dating app that caters to people specifically looking for relationships?
So yeah, a lot of the dating apps allow you to put your preferences in. And so you can say looking for a relationship, looking for a fling, I don't know what else, fling or whatever it is. And you can say smoking, your age, your religion, all of those things. So like the main one I'm on right now is Hinge. And so they allow you to put all those things in, even a dating, a age range and ethnicity. Like you can put all of those preferences in. And so you can weed people out that way. Like when I look on my Hinge, it's mostly black guys, but a white guy will pop up here and there. I'm like,
but it's interesting that for online dating too, like the one thing that would scare me if I was single, like the catfishing, because catfishing is real. Like a lot of the apps should have like mandatory like video.
Now this is the thing, right? And I to kind of, not to cut you off, Chanel. So
it's good.
I was in online dating prior to FaceTime, prior to technology being what it was, right? So I was in online dating AOL Messenger time, right? So this was back in the day.
You've been single for a minute.
Me too.
We take it back to the wire cord. Right. The telephone, right?
Yes.
Oh
Don't pick up that phone because you're gonna mess up my connection. Right.
Yeah, you've been looking for love for a hot minute.
I've been looking for love.
I don't know if I'd have told nobody that one.
Right. You said AOL.
I'd have kept that one for myself.
But my point is catfishing now, even though it is still happening, I feel like it's harder because now you got FaceTime. You got WhatsApp. You have no reason that we can't video chat, and I should be able to know exactly who you are and everything like that from a physical, look standpoint. So versus back in the day, you didn't have all of those, so it was very easy to, manipulate and go and keep up a facade for a longer period of time. So I feel like thankfully technology has helped a little bit in that way.
Right.
Yeah. I've never been catfished. I've gone on quite a few online dates, and we either FaceTime or talk beforehand, and they've always looked the way they look in the photos, but they don't act accordingly.
Right.
So I do want to touch on something real quick, and I'm going to go directly to Dom first. This was, I think, Chanel's idea to talk about this, but why do Black men not prefer to be with Black women?
Whoa.
You done call me out like that. Go ahead.
Dang, dang,
Yeah.
dang.
So Dom, talk to me. Why do Black men supposedly prefer to not be with Black women? What's going on with that?
Listen, I don't know that that's true completely. I think some Black men definitely have preferences, and for whatever deeply rooted trauma that they have, that's their business. I think if you actively prefer not to date a Black woman for whatever the reason is, there's something wrong with you. Like if you're a Black man and you actively do not want to date a Black woman for a specific reason, I think there is something wrong with you. Because I don't think you can blanketly say, I'm not dating Black women because of X.
Yeah.
Like that's
Right.
what do you mean?
And I've heard it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can say, I don't want to date women with children, or I don't want to date a short woman, a fat woman, whatever. But don't say you don't want to specifically date Black women, because we're not a monolith, right? And so all of us are not the same. So the qualities you like in that white woman, that Asian woman, I probably have too. My skin is just Black.
Right.
The men that I know love Black women. We see it in the media sometimes of these celebrities, men dating.
They get money
non-Black
and then they go
women.
to non-Black women. Yes.
Yeah,
What is that about?
it's sad. I really can't answer that wholeheartedly. I just think there's something wrong with you. That's really all
It's
I
like
can say
a
about that
deeply
one.
rooted problem. Yeah, it's something
Real.
internal
there's
that they
trauma there.
have going on with themselves that makes
Yeah,
them
but I
feel like
have a
having
thing-
someone
Right.
other than themselves is, holds them in higher regard or something.
But how do you
Yeah.
feel when a lot of artists be like, I'll say Kodak Black, for instance, he prefers to be with a light-skinned girl versus a dark-skinned girl. And like, to me, Black is Black. And we
Right.
come in all different shades. So I just feel sometimes it's kind of frustrating because I know I happen to be light-skinned, and it shouldn't be a debate because, you brown-skinned, Dominque, Charnetta's brown-skinned, I'm light-skinned, more men are gonna like me more because I'm lighter than you. Like, to me, that's so disturbing. And I noticed that men that claim that they like Black women, some of them still have preferences of wanting to be with a light-skinned Black woman. So is that a problem too? Or is that just their preference? Can you be mad at them for their choice and what they like? Or is there something mentally wrong with people that think that way?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a problem, because that's a cosmetic thing. That's not a character trait, a flaw. I can't choose what color I am. I can choose if I'm being a bitch. I can choose if I'm, being mean. I can't choose my skin color, right? And so that is a problem. That's not just a preference. Like something's wrong with you if you prefer a specific color. In terms of like the shade of Black woman, like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense to me.
So hold on. I mean, I hear you guys, and I think
you did it.
Oh, Lord,
Yeah.
Lord.
No,
what
I hear
got
you
to
guys,
say?
but I think you guys got to be open to the idea of normalizing preference. So if somebody is attracted, you do though. You do.
No.
You can't ignore it and say that all Black women, just because they're Black, I have to just date because if they're light skinned, they're dark skinned, whatever case may be. The eye, whatever you look and you see, if you're attracted to it, you're attracted to it. If you're not attracted to it, then you're not. It is what it is.
On
It's
the
one of
flip
those
side
things.
of that, though,
But I don't feel
is
Go ahead.
why aren't you attracted to? Why are you
You can't
attracted
be-
to?
Come on, Charnetta.
That's not something that I think you should do to yourself. When you talk about like, somebody is something wrong with them, I don't think you should sit yourself down on the couch and be like, oh, why don't I like Black women? Why don't I like white women? You know what I mean? Like if you're just not attracted, we're not even just talking about anything else. If I'm not attracted to a white woman, I'm not attracted to her. If I'm not attracted to a Hispanic woman, I'm not attracted to her. That's it. It could be her features, it could be her hair, it could be so many different things I'm just not attracted to. And that's okay. We have to normalize that instead of taking it personal. And that's what I think, when we're talking about Black women, some Black women, whether you're light skinned or dark skinned, will take it personal and say, oh, well, why don't you like dark skinned women? I'm dark skinned. Well, if I want a light skinned sister, or if I want a dark skinned sister, I want a dark skinned sister. That's it.
I think it's different with Black people, just knowing everything that we go through. And then
everything like what? Everything like what?
All the social, just all the,
that's
being
that's the trauma
and
right there.
just-
That's the trauma
okay,
right
Yeah,
there.
and I was about to say, I agree with T. I agree with
Yeah.
T 100% though.
Yeah,
If
that's the
somebody
trauma.
has a preference, then that should be dictated. Now, if the
That's
man
their preference.
specifically
Okay.
comes out and says, "Hey, I don't like Black women," and it's a derogatory answer to why, then that's something we can go
That's
in
where
on.
I was gonna
That's it. So, but now if it's just, hey, this is my preference, we shouldn't fault somebody for that. But now when it comes with the derogatory term afterwards, now we got to fix that, bro, because all Black women aren't this way. All Asian women aren't this way. So that's how we have to fix. So I think that's what the part that we need to go in on, not the fact that, because I have a friend, he's only dated white girls. He's a Black guy. He's never dated a Black woman.
And he never thought to say, why is it that, okay, I'm a Black man and I only find white women attractive. A Black woman is a reflection of me, like they look like me or whatever. And that's okay. Like you can have a preference, but to say, to make a conscious choice and say, I'm not dating any Black women.
Right.
There is
That's crazy.
What's up with that?
So, okay, but let's
that.
change it around real quick. So what about making a conscious choice to say, oh, I'm only going to date Black women and I'm not going to date outside of my race? What about that? Nobody say anything about that at all. That's like, oh, let's put that under the rug. It's okay. Right.
Well, I mean, again, it's a reflection of you. If it's not saying, that's just maybe who you're more comfortable with, your own. I mean, I don't think that there is to say like, oh, I don't want to date any white women and I'm a Black man. I don't want to date any white women. That I think just given the whole everything that's okay. I think it's okay. If a white person says, I only want to date white people, I don't want to date no Black girl, I don't want to date no Asian girl, that's okay. That's just my opinion. But
that's a preference.
So I feel like a lot of it
because it's your own self.
The mentality, and I feel like it comes down to the I'm not sure the right word for it, but it comes down to the intent, right? The intent of why it is that you wanted to date this person. Right. So you have like you said, I believe that there are preferences, right? Yes. I can believe that, I just prefer this type of person. Nothing wrong with this other person. I prefer this type of person. But will I make a comment? For me, I prefer Black men, right? But will I ever make a comment that I will never ever date a white man? I will never. No, because I am not going to just completely seclude or
all people. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Or also when it comes to, I feel like why it gets such a negative connotation is because sometimes when Black men will be like, oh, I don't want to date a Black woman, there's so, like you said, that Daniel, that derogatoriness that's behind it, that because she's this, because she's that, because she's this. And it's never done to, hey, I just prefer somebody else. It's always because it's a negative behind it.
Loud.
Yeah.
That's
you got the Love and Hip Hops and the Real Housewives about, we're not like that.
It's disturbing as a Black man. It's disturbing when you say something like that about a Black woman versus you just like, hey, I just like light-skinned chicks, or I just like Asian women. That's just what I like. But if I meet a Black chick that I vibe with, I'm cool with her too.
You're cool with,
I can rock with that. But when you sit there and you will completely cut off your own race, no matter who it is, Black, white, Asian, but you will cut off your own race behind something negative. That is what I cannot get. I'm not.
I've seen it from like, what Chanel and them were saying, like when I've seen on the NFL and I've been on the sideline and I look and I'm like, let me see who he's dating. And he runs over and he kisses a girl and I'm like, oh, like, but I had to get out of that mindset, like T said, and be like, well, maybe that's just his preference, what he like. Maybe they met and just went from there, because a lot of times I do see a lot of those players, they are dating white women.
But they
started off dating Black women.
Before they was a player, though, they was with a Black girl.
Exactly.
That's the thing, though. Before they was famous, they was with their high school sweetheart was a Black girl. Part. The girl they was with, they only dated Black girls prior to then. That's when it becomes issue, because it's like, are you dating a white woman because it's a status symbol? Because you feel that now that I have a white woman, I've made it. I'm now accepted into certain social circles, and that makes some of it as well. Where I feel like, and I've had a conversation with it, where they feel, some Black men feel like, hey, if I get with a white woman, I now can have more access.
Credit score goes up.
Yes, I have more access to her
golfing club.
Things that, golf clubs and with her dad and talking about, his business and things like that. And I feel like
sometimes it's pushed on them too, and more or less of that's who gets access to them. And that was the other part I was going to say, is sometimes when they're making that type of money and that type of things, the team, not necessarily the team, but they're projected to have this type of image. And then so when they do, they're put into these environments to where that's all they can be attracted to. So that way, when they're in that environment, that's all they see. And so when you only see a certain thing and you only see a certain, kind of issue pushed in an environment, that's how you become. I mean, look at your profession. A lot of us mold ourselves to our profession based off of the amount of money we make to be at a certain status, to do only certain things a certain way. So it becomes the same in dating a lot of times when you're in a certain pool and you have, access to only this type of woman.
I don't know, Charnetta and Dominque. I don't know how y'all feeling about that.
Listen. So I have.
Dominique,
You are your own
real quick.
person.
I got.
And you
so
can
much-
control yourself.
I got so much to say. So I'll say this, right? In 2005, all the way to 2012, I was dating Black women. I just wrote that down right now. I took a nice little break between 12 and 14, hopped back in the game. And between 2014 all the way to 21, it's been white women, right? And that's just the way that it happened. Like, why? I don't know. Now, if I met a sister today or tomorrow and she kind of pulled me back, then I'll go. Simple as that. I'm not
avoiding Black women, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't actively avoiding, but I was more open to other races.
And
that's
that's
what I'm trying to say.
That's fine though.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where I felt like, yo, your boy is well traveled. I've been around the world a little bit. So I should be open to others and not just, oh, there's some trauma there and everything that we went through, what Charnetta was saying, let me just stick Black because of the trauma.
That's not
I'm not going to do
I'm saying. No trauma. No.
I'm not going to do that.
Not what I'm saying.
Everything that we went through. Everything they went through back then, but I'm not necessarily going through those things. And I'm well traveled and I have to think about self and what I like.
Do you see a difference? I know you have, you can have your preference and like nobody should beat you up about what you prefer. But do you see a difference from dating Black women to white women to Spanish women? Do you see a difference?
Of course.
And what's the difference? What's the differences though? Like, what is it?
There's a huge difference.
What is
we all know the stereotype of what they say about Black women and what they also say about Black men, right? And nothing is all of anything. You can't say, oh, all of Black men are like this or all of Black women like this. What they're talking about is majority of that they came encountered with. So if Black, right. But then if I talk to my homeboy over here and he's saying similar things, oh yeah, Black women are like that, or Black men are like that, then what? And we can't sit there and ignore that. So I think that we need to hold some of the people around us accountable on what they're doing, and also acknowledge the trauma that people are going through and address it. Like Charnetta, you could sit there like this, but what you said earlier, right? You were like, oh, you have to decide, you have to make a choice to be with the person that you're laying next to, right? And I think that's valid. I think that's valid, whether it's Black, white, etc. But you choose to go and be with a Black man, and that's on you. And it should be allowed if a Black man want to go for a Hispanic woman. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
There's something wrong if they don't want to be with Black women at all. And they need to go talk to someone and see there's something there within them.
So let me ask you guys this. Do you guys agree with the stereotype, what they say about Black women, about the attitudes and etc.?
I believe a lot of Black women, yes. I'll say it. I will say it, yes. I believe a lot of Black women do. I wouldn't say have attitudes. I would say a lot of Black women are vocal.
We're outspoken. We're very outspoken.
We're very outspoken.
Right.
I think a lot of Black women are misunderstood sometimes by their facial expressions and the way
Thank you.
Right.
We can't water it down. And I think that's what we got to stop doing. We got to start watering things down. And people, I'll say this real quick and then go back to you. I hold a lot of my Black male friends accountable for certain things that they're doing, right? And I realize that certain things are just not right, whether like how they think, how they treat their woman, etc. But some of that come from the culture. You know what I mean? And I call it out. So when you like put the water on it and you sprinkle like the flowers and you try to make it look nice, oh no, like why are they saying this? Nah, address it, fix some of that trauma, some of the issues in the culture, and stop watering that shit down. It's a thing, and we have to address it.
Black women are strong. Everybody can't handle it. So it is what it is. If Black women is not your preference,
that's talking on the surface.
Something like that, then I guess.
Oh Lord.
That's talking on the surface of like, oh, Black women are strong.
No, I mean, if you can't handle it, someone who's vocal, who's opinionated, someone who's going to help build you up. If you just want someone to be, passive and cute and, you know, just be at the house doing whatever.
No.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, but that's the
Dominique,
thing,
go ahead,
though.
girl.
And I think that's an assumption that
Listen.
we make, because even some white women, they will cuss you out. Some Asian women, Latino, the same thing. They have some of those personalities. It's more or less just.
But they don't get stereotyped that way. With a Latina, even though
they
Latina's
do.
loud, Latinas are talking.
They cut
and
you,
will
the
cut you,
stereotypes.
and will run you and everything.
But y'all would go for them
they're
over a
spicy.
black person,
They're
though.
spicy. They're spicy.
Yeah,
They
and
get
that's
cute.
why
Yeah, they
I
get
do
the
not
word
see-
spicy.
They get the cute name with
Black women are.
We get an
"Ooh,
attitude.
you
We
allow
get
it
the
too much.
Black women.
Latina
A
gets spicy.
Latina, oh, she's spicy. I got that.
Yeah.
She's all
We're not
about
gonna
it.
win
Right.
today, T. It's too many of them.
No. It's totally fine.
No,
It's
and this
fine.
is the thing though, because I'm not one of the type of people where, like I said, I agree where yes, most Black women can be very loud. Most Black women can be very, all of the stereotypes. There can be a lot of Black women that are like that. I see it all the time. So, and I try to, for me, I purposely try not to be that woman because I don't want to be stereotyped like that, right? So I make a conscientious effort to try not to. Now, granted, I'm a loud person, so it just naturally, it comes out like that. But I do try to make a conscientious effort to not be that nagging and rah.
Right. Like communication, I hear you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I
Go ahead, Dom.
I was just gonna say, like, let's say we are all these things. We are loud. We do have an attitude. Does that make us unworthy of love? No.
Mm.
So,
No.
I'm still looking for a man with my attitude, with my loudness, with my hand gesture. I'm still looking for a man. I still deserve love too.
Yes.
So
You are.
don't put me in a box and say, oh, she got a little attitude. I'm going to not talk to her at all. But she checks all my other boxes, but she got an attitude.
You're worthy of love, of course, sis, right? You're worthy of that. However, it takes a certain type of man to want to deal with that constantly, right? Because I think some of that comes from the trauma, it comes from the upbringing, certain things like that, how we handle situations and etc. From my experience of the women that I dated, the Black women, they really didn't effectively communicate the way that I needed them to, right? And I don't know where that came from, but like if we had an issue, when it was time to talk about it, instead of being all up in my face, no, let's go to the table, let's make some dinner and let's have a conversation about the issues instead of you pointing your finger in my face, all this shit like that. Why are you deciding to handle the issue like that, where you want to talk over me? So when Charnetta says, oh, we're just outspoken, well, you can be outspoken, but you have to effectively be able to communicate and talk to your significant other without trying to overtalk them. That's when it becomes a problem, right? So you being outspoken and being all up in his face and trying to be the man and all this stuff like that. He's like, yo, like, who are you attacking like this? We're supposed to be in this together. Why are you coming after me?
I feel like most 30 plus Black women aren't like that. 30, 35 plus Black women don't operate like that, in my opinion, that I've come across. That personality, that rah on your face, that is a young female personality. I don't
That's
know
true.
30 women that's gonna be up in a man's face because one, we don't have, like, we don't operate like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not how we operate.
Not all
and we
of us,
learn over time that that's not how you communicate. So give Black women a try. You're older now. Give us a try again.
Well, I respect everything that you said, T. I respect everything that you said. I respect your honesty. And I really do respect everything that you said. Now, when you mentioned that for the Black ones that you dated, they're sophisticated and it seems like they come at you a certain way. Do you ever do a self-reflection on yourself? Because why is it that they are coming at you like that? Is it something that you're putting out in the relationship that's making them feel that way? Do you ever look at that?
Of course, because you have to self-analyze yourself first before you try to like play the victim, right? So of course I do that.
And what's your thoughts? That's not your fault? Or
once again, it's all about how you communicate and how you talk about it, right? So I can hold myself accountable for certain things that I'm bringing to the relationship, but I have to be mindful and be like, okay, well, let's talk about it. I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna work on that. And I've done that. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot
I'm
of
not perfect.
What you said is Black women might just be misunderstood. You know what I mean? It may not be that we can't communicate, but I feel like it might be a misunderstanding. And so a lot of it, what'd you say?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think you understand?
You know what?
I don't think it's
we just have to chalk up to the.
Yeah, I don't think it's a misunderstanding. Like, I think it is what it is, and it's okay. We just have to deal with it. That's it. Like, I mean, look, my mother's black, right? My mother's black. Well, okay, fair enough. My aunts are black. My cousins are black women. So yeah, I have experience across the frame, but it's just like, it is what it is. It's like, it is.
Well, no, because the reason why I feel like it could be a misunderstanding, because a lot of times one of the most common things is, right, oh, she be nagging, she's nagging, versus she's really not nagging, but she's asked you to do something one time before, you didn't respond, or you didn't do it the right, you know what I mean, the way she wanted. So that she's asking you again, and then, you know, and then at that point, she has had to say it 5 or 6 times because you didn't respond the way it needed to be the first 1 or 2 times, the case may be. And so now it comes off as nagging. And so now I'm just a nagger, but we're not going to talk about how you did and what you did and how this and this and this.
And that's what I was saying with being misunderstood, is because a lot of times, you know, we don't communicate and we don't try to unpack that trauma with our partner. But that's what I'm saying. But that's why I think the misunderstanding comes from, is that it's the communication aspect breakdown that we have. So when a woman starts nagging, instead of us really trying to break down the trauma that she's had to deal with and understand why she operates the way we do, we just try to dismiss it as her being an angry black woman or her being this, versus us actually communicating and understanding the story for how she got to where she is. And that way, once you do that and you communicate to them in that way, you're not going to have a nagger. You're not going to have somebody that's always on you, because now you understand when they've told you something a certain way, this is why they do it this way, because of something that they've had to deal with in the past. Because a lot of us in you know, the black community alone, we have a lot of trauma that we've had to compress and put into this bottle, and, you know, don't let it leave the house, and don't let it. And then when you finally get a partner, you want to unpack that and feel safe.
Right.
You don't know how to necessarily do that because of the examples you've had, or how it's been, you know, instructed for you to do it that way.
That was good.
All right, brother. That was good. That was good.
Was that helpful? Hopefully.
I don't know, T. That was for you, sir.
Right. He can listen.
Anyway, anything else in regards to that? I mean, hopefully.
How do you feel about if a black woman says that they'll only date white men?
Like I said, I've been on T side with that the whole time. A person should be able to date who they want to date. Just don't make it derogatory in the reason of why you don't date it. So if you say, hey, I don't date black women, just leave it there. I don't want you to say, I don't date black women because they're angry and because they're this, but I date white women because they're submissive, and I don't want to hear that part. Normally,
Daniel, they're going to ask you why. When you say, oh, I only want to date this, they say, the follow-up question is, why?
Yeah, but just say, look, I met this person and this is who I vibe with and who I connected with, because you can't project one experience you've had on an entire culture or entire race. And that's what I hate we do sometimes. We'll sit here and, you know, you dated one black woman and she was angry and this, and then now you say, well, I'm never going to date another black woman. No, you have not. That's not all black women. So I think that's why I say don't say it with the derogatory term, unless you can say, hey, I've been doing it this way. And because it's something about you that's attracting this type of woman. The same for a flip side for a woman. If you keep attracting this type of man, it's something about you that is attracting that person to come to you. So therefore, the problem isn't black women.
What you saying, Dom?
I don't know about that one. But...
No, I'm getting off.
A piece of what you said feels like you contradicted yourself, but
yeah. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I wanted to paint a scenario for you. So we're out at a bar. You see me. You're attracted to me. You come up to me. You start spitting sweet nothings in my ear. We're vibing, and then I say, "Hey, I actually don't date black men. Sorry." You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine with that.
No,
I can't tell you what. Now we're gonna sit here and be debating each other on why you should date me. If you're not feeling me or you're not feeling me as a black man, cool. I'm a step forward. You have a good night.
But I'm feeling you. But because you're black,
that's something you have to unpack. That's what I'm saying. That goes back to you as an individual. Why you don't. That's what I was saying. Like, I can't. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do that's going to change that, because it's something that you are dealing with that is you have to address in order for you to see things.
I don't understand how you can be okay with the one hand saying that's your preference, and you can say I don't date black men, and then also say it depends on the reason. But it doesn't matter the reason, because you're saying blanketly I don't date.
You already have the preference.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. So that's why I said I'm just gonna leave it alone and let you have your
The
preference.
two can't be true at the same time.
Mm.
No. The question was because I don't feel like Daniel was saying that. I thought.
Yeah,
feel
that's what I was saying. I think
Daniel
Dominique
wasn't saying
misunderstood what I was saying.
That was T saying that. So, like, how would you feel, T, if
she want to attack me with it? She want to
about black women.
My bad,
No,
my bad.
because you were the one that said your preference is not black. So I just want to, how would you feel if someone you approach that, said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my preference is not, black men. I'd only date white men."
So I would be okay with it, because I do understand people and their preference. Now, do I like it? Brittany, you could back away from the camera.
Right? Because we know you, T. We know you.
I have a small little pet peeve about that. Only because, like a Candace Owens, right? I hate the idea that she's dating that guy. It's just something about it that don't seem legit to me. I don't like the idea, huh?
That's who she should be dating.
Right.
Yeah.
Candace Owens, she's not a part of the black community. I'm sorry.
That's a good point, because there are some black people that I have seen where I'm like, I can't even imagine you dating another black person. That's just how far gone.
Yeah, because she said we don't have the trauma that we say exists in the black community. So obviously you've never experienced trauma as a black person. So I wouldn't expect you to date a black person.
So I mean, if a shorty told me that, I would be like, okay. I would probably ask why. Why don't you date a black man? And
would you be offended?
It depends on what she said, right? Because probably some of the things that she mentioned would be true. And now is her preference if she want to deal with that.
So if she gave the same, let's just completely put the shoe on the other foot. She gave the same derogatory reasons that men give when they say they don't want to date a black woman.
Right.
Oh, because black men cheat.
They dogs. They cheat. They dogs. They broke. They ain't got no money. They this.
They always leaving. They don't help in the house.
So
they don't
all
take
the
care
things,
of their kids.
all the things that you guys just said, how are any of those things false?
They're not for all black. They are false.
Hold on. We got to change the vernacular of this. So it's not all. We got to stop saying all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So you're saying, oh, they're not all like that. I get not all, but a lot of black men are not in the lives of their kids. They're just not there.
I call
that's not true.
on that, because I know
that's
more black men that are
there are. That's a stereotype that they
every black man I know is involved with his child. Every black man.
Okay,
I do not know a black man that's
either that or maybe some type of broken home, right? Because we can't forget about that, because that's part of the stats as well, where it's like, oh, you got a baby mom or multiple baby moms, those type of things, and you're just not there with your family type of shit.
So you wouldn't feel offended if she said that you feeling old girl. You're feeling old girl. You like her. Y'all got a great vibe. Then she completely says, "Nah, I don't date black men because of this." And she says all those negative things that you do not identify with, not one of them.
Right.
You do not show that.
I don't.
Right.
You don't. You did not identify
some type of way.
She gave you those reasons. You wouldn't feel offended.
So what I would say is, I come from the same cloth that you come from, and I get it. I'm not like that. But I understand why your mentality is that way. So you're deciding to date outside. I get it. But we can't sit there and ignore it, right? It's a thing.
Tia be like, that dumb bitch.
I wouldn't.
I just feel like that's offensive.
And even if that, I feel like it's changing. Like especially nowadays, you see black men out there with their kids. You see them taking care of themselves. You see them, that whole thing is changed. And I mean, it's maybe okay. I'm not. What you saying is not wrong, T. There was like a time where the stereotypes,
right? I know
it
it's
was a majority, but it's not like that anymore.
Right?
Maybe that's it. We see it changing, and you don't see it changing. I don't know.
But we also got to remember there was a whole crack epidemic that we went through that made
set up to create this situation.
There was a whole
break up the home.
That's a whole different scenario. That's a whole different book.
Right. And then that's why I said earlier, it's not all, it's them in their mind thinking about majority, because they can't say.
Yeah, but even majority, how did they get that consensus of majority?
of
Like,
maybe
I hate when people
that
say
they
that, the
came encounter
majority
with.
of. Well, how many black people did you go talk to?
That's
get
what I'm
this?
saying.
Is the majority
4 or
like 5
black
people? Right.
It's
Was that
their
majority?
majority.
Oh yeah, well, there
Right.
was 3 people that I
Fair.
came across. That's not the majority.
So I
Right.
do think, okay, honestly, like I gotta be real with you guys, and I love all of you guys. I do think that you guys are biased with a lot of the opinions, and I understand that I'm outnumbered right here, 5 out of 6, but I do think that you guys are biased because the skin that you're in, and that can be a problem. You know what I mean? Because you feel like because you're in that skin, you have to defend and ignore certain issues, and it's like, yo, you can't do that. That's not helping the problem. That's adding to the problem.
I feel like that's a natural. I feel like if you had 5 white people on this and then you said something about white people, they're gonna all defend themselves. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like what we're saying is wrong or being biased, talking about things that are offensive, that are said offensively about the Black community. I don't feel like we're wrong or biased in making these statements. Like, I don't think that. I think that's
we are biased because we're Black. I can't speak for white people. I'm not white. I can't speak for an Asian person. I'm not Asian. So you're right. I am biased because I only know about the Black culture.
Yeah.
Know what we know.
I'm not biased though. That's all I'm saying. But final words. Final words.
You should be biased. You Black.
No, I shouldn't. You know,
about this, I feel like you kind of should though.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
We don't know the white experience. I don't know the Asian experience. I'm not Asian. I'm not white, so I can't speak on what they would allow and wouldn't allow.
So final words, starting with Chanel.
This has been an amazing conversation because the back and forth dialogue, it had me thinking about myself. I will say I am proud to be a Black woman, and I don't discriminate. If somebody genuinely falls in love with me, I don't care if you're red, white, black, blue, brown, purple. If we have a connection, that's what I'm going for. And I encourage you all to think the same way. Don't be biased because you've never dated a white person that you won't ever go, step over the boundaries and date somebody that's different.
Charnetta?
Be open. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I think you have the right to have the preference of whoever you want to be with. But if you are against, your own race, then you should just maybe do some self-reflecting and understand why that is. It doesn't mean you have to change it, but just understand why you feel the way you do about your own kind.
But Britt?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with preference. By all means, go with whatever you are attracted to. You should not have to put yourself in a box because you are a race, because you look a certain way, because of your financial background. No reason. Go after whatever you love, but be true to that. Don't go. And if you do want to go and date outside of your race, that's fine. Do not bash your race because you're not helping. You are hurting the problem. You are keeping the stereotype going. So like Daniel said, if you don't date Black women, I don't date Black women. I just prefer a different race. Leave it at that. Do not bash.
That's it. Right.
Dom?
Well,
this was a lot for her.
this conversation took a turn that I wasn't prepared for.
Right.
Welcome to Say It in 4.
Very, very good conversation. However, I think all women are beautiful. I think Black women are the most beautiful women in the world. Honestly, I'll say it again. And so if a Black man doesn't want you, he's not for you, sis. That doesn't mean you're less than. That doesn't mean you're not beautiful. That doesn't mean you're not worthy. Find you a different man.
You need
and that's it. And that's
person.
Close the show, T. Close the show.
Need a stronger
Close the show.
Well,
Daniel ain't have his turn.
That I'm done. Yeah.
Close the show.
Need a stronger person.
Black women are beautiful. And I always have been a strong supporter of our Black women. Like, the shirt I wore a lot of times on this show, Black women matter. And we have to get behind our Black women and support them. Now, if you as a Black man can't see why you should date a Black woman, then that's on you. And that's something that you have to look within from. But just know that nobody else is going to understand our trauma. Nobody else in our community is going to understand the things that we have to go through. And when you have Black kids, nobody else is going to be able to raise them in our culture in the way of how to, our upbringing other than a Black woman. So you can have your preference, you can have it, but please don't hate on our sisters in the process of doing that.
Thank you guys for tuning in on Say It in 4. I'm Terrence Edwards. We got Chanel Fladger, Brittany Crutchfield, Charnetta Williams, Dominique Turner, and Daniel Smith. Join us next time on Say It in 4. Take care.
Thank y'all. Post your comments.
Please.